and thought it was pretty funny how he did that. The hospital, however, didn't. Now, as the infection faded away, I was sent home for a few weeks to heal and prepare my second surgery, which will be coming up on February 2nd. This was a real treat. I was going back home. First time back in the last 2.5 months. Even though it still meant I still had to get some more surgery done, it was a thrill to remain lying down in bed in my own house. Now, my mom and dad made a new bedroom for me. They took the bedroom, I couldn't go upstairs obviously, so they made the den or patio, whatever we might be, or porch, into a separate bedroom for me. I really enjoyed these 2 weeks, seeing my family, my friends, my sister, my neighbors, as well as my tutors, the people who taught me school. Because I was missing so much school, my high school, St. Mary's Catholic High School from Manhasset, New York, arranged with the public schools in Mineola to send tutors to our house so I could keep up with my studies. I only had a few months to learn. I recall having 3 tutors, one for math, one for Spanish, and one for English. They were all very good, dedicated educators who passionately helped me stay on the course with my class so I could actually graduate on time, even though I would be physically out of school for most of the year. To add to the fun, my Spanish teacher, a cool guy, Mr. Lorenzo, I think his name was, would bring his little white poodle with him when he came to teach me. I had more fun with the dog. So I got sent back to the hospital for my second operation. And my roommate was an odd duck. He was somewhat critical, really sarcastic, about 30 years old. I don't know what his problem was, why he was in the hospital, but the guy had an attitude about everything. He was really a bit strange. Now, with the room filled with both the background music of Petula Clark singing her latest hit, Downtown.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown.
Or the playing of Nat King Cole's numerous songs, because Nat King Cole was dying then. We would talk about life, medicine, and myths. This fellow and me would just lay in bed, him in his bed and me across the hall in my bed, sitting there talking about everything that under the sun. I remember him telling me how idiotic it was that health professionals published studies that actually said eating too much bacon was not good for you. He would say, can you imagine that? How can they possibly say too much bacon is not good for you? What's next, hot dogs? This guy would go on and on and on. Now, that was American Dietary Suggestions back in 1965, and this guy believed it to a T. He did not want to have any kind of faith in what they said about watch out for the bacon. This medical genius then went on to what he had heard about my operation, which is now a few hours away. He gave me his own personal take on it. I remember him saying, hey kid, it's incredible. Let me tell you, you're one brave kid letting those doctors cut you up like that. All you need is one little mistake by a doctor, a cough, a slip, whatever, and you'll be paralyzed for life. Hey, good luck, kid. I was like, what? I didn't know that. I lay there listening, and for the very first time, I had a little bit of fear in me, but I told no one. Now, the second operation was successful. No infections, and clearly the pain didn't seem anywhere near as bad as the first. Maybe I was getting used to it. I was a veteran. Or maybe it wasn't as major as surgery. After all, they only did my middle vertebrae this time, not my top and bottom. And they used my left hip bone for the magic hardening solution. Guess I manufactured my own, what then could have been called Ron's Crazy Glue. I was then sent back home again to recuperate. Over the next few weeks, I'd go back and forth to the hospital, via the fire department ambulance, for checkups, still laying down that crazy stretcher. I recall once getting back to the hospital, and a bed was hard to come by. The first night, I actually had to stay in the hallway, oddly next to my former room, which contained the bacon lover. It was dark and quiet, and on my hallway night table were a paper and pen. In my best handwriting, I wrote in bold the word isolation and asked an orderly to tape it back on the door, saying it had fallen down. He did. I think he did, or maybe he humored me. In the morning, it was pretty funny watching the staff do cartwheels, trying to figure out what happened to the bacon freak?
Oh, I've been so lucky and I've been so blessed. In spite of my failings, I've found success. For I've known love and I've known good times, and I have known friendship and written some rhymes.
You're listening to The Last Walk, Remember When, with your host, Ron Baumbach. A special thanks to my good friend Paul Casone for the wonderful song, Here's to Good Friends, heard throughout our show. Also want to thank Batul Clark and Nat King Cole for keeping me stable and listening to your sweet melodic sounds towards my time with the Bacon Freak. And of course Bobby Darin and Brenda Lee, Terry Cashman, and the wonderful Herb Oscar Enison and Howard Cosell. And who else can I thank but my buddy Mike for the great work he does in the studios in the state of Tennessee, but making our voice sound so much better. The book, The Last Walk on Our Block, is available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. It's a Nook print and Kindle version. Have a great week. See you next time on The Last Walk. Remember when.
Here's to good friends, the ones we hold dear, the ones who will tell us what we need to hear, the ones who love us right or wrong, and to all those good friends who give you this song, and to all those good friends who give you